Do you want your next adventure to take place in a system of spooky caves, glowing mushrooms, and races with names that are impossible to pronounce, such as Svirfneblin, Duergar, and Durawa? Then you need some plot hooks for the Underdark. We're going to talk about 11 of them today, and be sure to stay tuned to the very end for a sneak peek at an upcoming monster I have on my Patreon. Number 1, Outpost Rescue. Somebody who is really important has been captured by a group of drow and taken to an outpost in the Underdark. The mayor received a letter with demands from the drow in order for the hostage to be released unharmed. Your players have 24 hours to formulate a plan and try to save the hostage. They could negotiate with the drow, try to get in there stealthily, or just guns a-blazing, kick in the front door.
I started blasting. Bang! Bang!
Questions to think about. Who is this important person? Why were they captured? What exactly are the Drow's demands? And what defenses does the Drow outpost have? And number 2, a sunlight stopping device. Rumors have been spreading of a strange device in the Underdark that is capable of blocking out or absorbing, canceling the rays coming from the sun. At the moment, these are only rumors, but the powers that be are worried about a potential full-scale invasion if denizens of the Underdark no longer need to worry about sunlight sensitivity. The party is tasked with investigating these rumors and putting an end to whatever device the Underdark is creating. Questions to consider. What is the device and how does it work? I personally like to imagine it's just a giant umbrella and that's all there is to it. There's nothing magical or arcane. It's just a big old parasol that blocks the sun. Who is creating this device? What nefarious plans, if any, are in store for the device? And how can this device or its creators be stopped? Number 3, Brain Puppy Tracker. Deep within the Underdark, a piece of ancient and powerful knowledge has recently been discovered. So the party has been tasked with finding this piece of information, and they've been given an intellect devourer, or brain puppy, to help them find it. So if you don't know, an intellect devourer is just like a little brain with 4 legs. Now this brain puppy has been trained like a tracking hound to find this piece of information. The only caveat is, will the players be able to control it and maintain it so that they do not get their brains psionically gobbled? Questions to consider. Who is sending the PCs on this task? What is the source of information or legendary artifact sort of thing that they're going after? And how is the intellect devourer being contained and controlled or satiated without attacking the players? Number 4, Follow the Rocks. An overexcited miner, not young person, and businessman has recently discovered this enormous stash or vein of a really precious and valuable mineral. But the problem is it's in the Underdark and is completely infested with monsters and plants that are gonna do some stuff you don't want them to. The PCs have been recruited to clear a path to this new mining site and get rid of any creatures or dangerous things that live there. They can do this in any way that they see fit. However, the miner doesn't want to see any signs of violence, like leftover blood or bodies or something, anything like that. And they have to reasonably be able to get a cart in and out. Questions to consider. What is this mineral exactly, and what makes it so valuable? Does it have any special properties? How much approximately is this new vein worth? What sort of creatures live nearby? And what kind of plants might deter the PCs in this quest? Number 5, Pilgrimage to Lolth's Temple. Lolth, the crazy spider queen, has numerous temples throughout the Underdark, and the PCs now have to make a pilgrimage to one of them. Maybe they have to find an artifact or hunt down some fanatic drow who wronged somebody. Questions to consider. Who is sending the PCs to the temple, and why are they going there? Is this temple abandoned? Has it been abandoned for a super long time, or does it still get used regularly? Are there any traps present? And will Lolth herself intervene to stop the PCs? Number 6, Start at the End. So this one is basically the Hangover, or that one quest from Skyrim where you meet someone and you don't know that they're like a god, and you get drunk with them and wind up halfway across the realm and have to backtrack and figure out all the crazy stuff that you did last night. So this one works really well as a one-shot adventure because otherwise it's kind of super railroady to have everyone just black out and then wake up somewhere else with no memory of how they got there. But anyway, they awake in a cold, dripping, wet cave with glowing mushrooms sprouting up everywhere around them. They need to figure out where they are and what happened last night. Questions to consider. Seriously, what the fuck happened to the PCs? If the blackout was caused by someone specifically, what were their motives or intentions for this? Do the PCs wake up with all of their equipment, or do they have to go and re-find it scattered throughout whatever crazy trail in the Underdark they did? And how far into the Underdark did they actually go? Number 7. The Dealings of Duergar. A local merchant who's generally considered to be not super duper successful has recently begun flaunting his wealth with fancy fur coats and diamond rings and jewelry and stuff like that. So the rumor is that he struck a deal with the Duergar where they are supplying him with all these riches and nice things, and he is supplying them with something. The PCs have to get to the bottom of the shenanigans and figure out what the Duergar are plotting. Questions to consider. How is the merchant interacting and meeting with his Duergar? How did they first meet? What is the merchant providing to the Duergar where they're willing to give up this much gold and wealth? Is the merchant working with them willingly, or are they being coerced, blackmailed, magically charmed somehow? And how likely are the PCs to just kill the guy and take all of his stuff? Number 8. Spreading Blight. Not too far off from town, there's a well-known but very rarely traveled cave that eventually winds to the Underdark. In recent weeks, there have been an increasing number of reports of dead animals and plants near the entrance to this cave. It seems to be spreading and spreading rapidly. There is a hefty lump sum of gold to anyone who can figure out where this is coming from and if there's a way to stop it. Now, this plot hook is a really great way to kick off a brand new campaign that's going to lead them way into the Underdark, uncovering who knows what, or to mix in with your current campaign as the next story arc that ties in somehow. Questions to consider. Who or what is responsible for the Blight? What's going to happen if the Blight doesn't get contained or fixed and just keeps on spreading? Are there any magical effects that the PCs might have to face because of whatever this Blight is? Probably related to the cause of it. And finally, how can this Blight be stopped? Number 9. Down Under Dungeoneers. The PCs have started hearing rumors and seeing posters about a brand new adventurers guild. It's very exclusive, and it's holding trials for anyone who wants to join. However, unlike most guilds, this one is located in the Underdark. Almost everybody who's attempted any of these trials has failed miserably, and those who do succeed don't wind up being seen or heard from ever again. Are the PCs tough enough to join the Down Under Dungeoneers and uncover the mystery of these missing adventurers? Questions to consider. Is this guild legit, or is it part of a grand ruse or scheme for something? What do these trials consist of? What sort of challenges are the PCs going to face? What's really happening to people who are succeeding at these trials? And does everyone have a shitty Australian accent? We may never know. And number 10. La Belle Fleur Sauvage. Deep within the Underdark, a very rare flower grows and blooms just once every 500 years. A passionate botanist has been studying these flowers their whole life, and they've recruited the PCs to go on a quest. They have to venture deep into the Underdark and retrieve a single petal from the quest flower. The botanist is able to give them fairly specific directions as far as where it is and the timing of this blooming. Are they going to be able to recover it without destroying it in the process? Questions to consider. What makes this flower so special, aside from the fact that it blooms once every 500 years? What is the botanist able to offer the PCs as a reward for this quest? Where in the Underdark is this flower located? Now, this can be a little bit tricky, but just think of a general location such as behind a waterfall in a lake in the Underdark, or in some abandoned ruins of an old drow city. And what challenges are the PCs going to take? And what challenges are the PCs going to face while they try to get this flower? This is a really great one to get PCs to go into the Underdark, and then from there, anything you want can happen. It just gets them into there. Number 11. A Translator's Treasure. A fanciful gnome by the name of Ronswick is trying to create this universal translating device for different species and races to communicate better. The only problem is he doesn't have enough audio samples of Undercommon. He gives the PCs 5 different enchanted rocks where they can capture audio, so just like little recording devices, and has requested specific phrases from specific creatures in the Underdark. One from a drow, one from a sphere fneblin, one from a mind flayer. Are the PCs up to this unique task, and how are they going to actually achieve this? Questions to consider. What are the phrases that Ronswick wants to be recorded? These are probably just like short general phrases like, "What's up?" or Hey dude, what creatures do the PCs need to get these recordings from? And how viable do you want diplomacy to be? Because otherwise there's going to be a lot of torture. Alright, that's what I got for you. Shout out to my patrons, Rachel Alexandria and Connor O'Keefe. Thank you so much for making this video possible. If you like this video, please subscribe, tell a friend about it. I really appreciate it. Alright, now it's time for Who's That Patreon? It's Minotaur!
Yay!
And if you want to get 3 new badass creatures and 3 magic items every single month for the price of a cup of coffee, head on over to my Patreon and you'll also get instant access to everything else I've created. Alright, thanks. Bye bye.